Hello, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to be bringing you through a full work-life balance day in my life as a Pilates instructor. Whenever I'm vlogging, I show you parts of my day, of course, but I wanted to do a full time-stamped video from start to finish on what it's like being a Pilates instructor who runs an online studio and is also an entrepreneur in the Pilates industry. I always mention in my vlogs when I'm having productive work behind the computer type of days or afternoons, and in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by that and exactly what I'm doing behind the computer so you can have a more clear glimpse of what it's like being a Pilates entrepreneur. That way, if you are considering this career as a lifestyle choice for yourself, you can see what that lifestyle is actually like. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe because I post one new video every single week. And the day I'm going to be bringing you through was actually yesterday, Thursday, November 14th. Today it's Friday, so I'm going to just walk you through from start to finish the day that I had yesterday. And it was a fun one. My alarm rang at 7 a.m. and I woke up, had my coffee in bed. And this is typically what my morning routine looks like. My alarm will ring around 7. I'll get out of bed between 7:15, have coffee in bed, and I will start the day off with a little mini meditation in bed. I try not to spend too much time on my phone while I'm having my coffee, so I'll cuddle with Pongo a little bit. And then lately I have been using my Pilates instructor reflection journal, even on the days that I'm not seeing clients. So if I'm filming a class for my online studio, I will still use this journal. And I've actually used it on days that I'm not even teaching at all, just because it's a great way to ground myself in the morning and just start the day with a grateful heart. At around 8 a.m., I will get out of bed and start getting ready for the day. So I'll wash my face, do my little routine, put on some very minimal makeup like some tinted sunscreen and some mascara, and then I'll make the bed. And today I had some laundry to fold, so I got that out of the way early in the morning so I didn't procrastinate it to later in the day because then it'll never happen. And then at around 9 a.m. I left my house to go to my home Pilates studio, which is at my parents' house in their efficiency. I live very close to them, so by 9:15 I was setting up my online studio space to film a Pilates class. The setup process right now is a lot more simple than it used to be. If you've been here for a while, you know the journey that I've been on. So having this space pretty much set up, it's a very simple and seamless process. Just getting my equipment all set up, and then I will always do my little routine of putting my phone on Do Not Disturb and reviewing my class plan and all of that. So this took, I want to say, about 20 to 25 minutes. By the time I actually started teaching, it was about 9:40 a.m. I filmed a full-length, full-body Pilates class, and it was 44 minutes when I hit the stop on my Garmin. At around 10:30, I started picking everything up, which is pretty simple. It's just turning off all of my equipment, picking up my mat, and then leaving the space nice and organized. At around 10:45, I was having breakfast with my parents, which is such a special thing that I can do when I'm done filming classes. If they're home, we like to have breakfast together and just catch up. At around 11:15, after having breakfast with my parents, I actually went back into the home studio space to take some measurements because I'm working with some interior designers to decorate and kind of logistically set up the space for when I start ordering some Pilates equipment. So I had to take some measurements that they have requested and send them off their way. I had already kind of sent them a floor plan of the measurements of the space, but they needed a little more detail. So went back in, got those measurements, wrote them all down. This is something that I'm going to be talking more about in some of my upcoming vlogs, so stay tuned for that. But it's very exciting because I know nothing about interior design and decorating, and I just needed a professional opinion on making the space look really nice and professional. Once I got home, it was around 11:45 and my dog was outside with my husband, so that was a nice little surprise for him. We took him for a little stroll. Usually he's inside of the house when I get home, of course, but they were outside for a little walk, so Pongo was very surprised to see me. At around 12 p.m. is when I went upstairs to sit in my desk and import the footage that I had just filmed from the class. I input my SD card and I was editing the footage so that I can export it and schedule it to my online studio, Pilates on the Green. While it was doing the whole import and export process, I was working on the thumbnail for the class. I answered some emails. One of the emails was for the interior design specs, and I answered some DMs and YouTube comments, and then I also started outlining some ideas for my December newsletter. And I also published a landing page that I had been working on for my marathon program for runners. I've been working on this landing page for the past couple of weeks, so it was nice to just have it pushed live, and it was a nice thing to cross off of my to-do list that I had. The import and export process is the longest part of working on the footage from the class. The actual editing process is pretty simple. It's just trimming the beginning and the end of class, and then I also just skim through the class. I don't watch the whole thing because I didn't have 44 minutes to spare, but I'll just make sure that the audio is okay for the whole track, and I'll just kind of skim through it. So pretty simple on that end. At around 1:30 p.m., I went downstairs to bake some sourdough bread that I had prepped the day before. So I was preheating the oven, getting it all set up to bake, and once I put it in for the first batch of 40 minutes is when I started making some almond milk that I had ran out of because I wanted to make some matcha. So I made my almond milk, and then I made my matcha, and I had some lunch. For lunch today, I had meal prepped some overnight oat bran. I put it with some fruit and some granola, and then I had that with my iced matcha. And while I was eating, I was also multitasking, and I was posting on stories about my new landing page that I had just published. At around 3 p.m. is when the bread was finished, so I took it out and I let it sit for 2 hours before cutting it. So for the rest of the afternoon, I actually had the lovely fresh sourdough bread scent while I was working. It made it so cozy because I also had some Christmas jazz music playing. It was a nice and calming afternoon getting some work done. At around 2:30 is when I was working from my iPad, and this lasted until about 5 p.m. I was working on some social media tasks because if you may not know, I'm a social media manager for a Pilates business, not my own, for another business. So I was editing some content for them, writing out the captions, plugging in some assets into the posting schedule, and I was also scheduling the post for that night because I hadn't scheduled it yet. So working on all of the social media stuff for them took up the majority of my afternoon, but it did leave me with about 30 minutes or so to continue working on my new runner's recipe book that I'm aiming to have finished by December. I got all the information from my former dietitian, Jessica, and I'm just kind of plugging it into the PDF that I designed and created. And over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to start plugging in all of the recipes from my marathon training into this book. So that way it can be a free little resource for my YouTube subscribers, my email newsletter subscribers, and of course, my Pilates on the Green club members. So I made a couple of more edits on that. And then at around 4:45 or 5 p.m., it was a quick little outfit change to head out for my 4.5 mile run. At 6 p.m., once I got home, I had some electrolytes, hopped in the shower. After my shower, prepped some dinner. We had chicken and cauliflower rice with a slice of my sourdough bread, which I did try once I cut it. I tried a piece and it was so yummy, but we had a slice of that with the dinner. And then after dinner, it was time to just unwind. I used my massage gun on the couch. I was watching an episode or two of Gossip Girl, and then we watched Thursday Night Football. Once I got into bed, it was about, I want to say 9:15. I read a couple of chapters of the book that I've been reading and did the Wordle connections and the new one. I can't remember what it's called. I think Strands or something like that. And then it was time to go to sleep. I think I was asleep by 10 or 10:15. And then I slept a solid 9.5 hours last night. Much needed. So there you have it. I taught one full-length Pilates class, got a lot of busy work done behind the computer, and now you know what exactly I mean by that when I say I had a productive day behind the computer. Here are some of the tasks that I kind of got done. But then I also had a lot of time to hang out with my parents, have breakfast, make my bread, make my almond milk, go for my run. I'm really happy with how balanced the day was. I didn't work too much. It wasn't too stressful, but I was still very productive. When you're an entrepreneur, no one is setting the deadlines for you, so it takes a lot of discipline to cross off your to-dos and to set your own to-dos. So yeah, this is what a typical Thursday has been looking like for me lately, but I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe for one new video every single week. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week for my next vlog. Bye!